Winston Campbell. I'm a co-curator for the exhibition. My specific role was to sort of help with the conceptualization of the exhibition as well as exhibition design. So this exhibition actually is driven by a desire to sort of facilitate growth, if you would, in a period of dormancy. The term fiberactive germination is, in a sense, self-explanatory if we're familiar with terms such as germination. The fiberactive speaks to the fundamental elements that are used to make a lot of the artworks, which is fiber. And we know fiber can be natural, it can be synthetic. The germination, I like to explain it by reminding persons of that general science activity of putting a pea in water, and over time, we notice that through hydration, etc., a little thing starts to spring and then it gets roots and we can transplant that and have a whole tree and then we get to eat from it. This exhibition is about that entire process. We're trying to ensure that persons get to realize that, yes, there may be some degree of dormancy in the arts generally, in visual arts to come a little closer to home, but particularly with fiber arts. And so, because this is a fiber exhibition. So that's really the concept, and it's a first in a series of activities that are strategically implemented to facilitate the sort of germination, to use that word again, or that growth, if you would, that we desire. And of course, it's the outcome that we want is not just a tree. We want a tree that bears fruit.
So Fiberactive Germination is pretty much the start of an initiative with Blaqmango Consultants, whereas our aim is to activate the art scene as it pertains to textiles and fiber arts, really pulling out quite a number of artists who have been here and somewhat a little bit dormant. We have some who have been practicing over the years and consistently, but then there are others that kind of gotten lost within the cracks, or but if they've recently graduated and not necessarily seen the opportunity to present their work, because that's an issue that we face generally as textiles and fiber artists, whereas they're not necessarily featured a lot in exhibitions. So this exhibition is really the first Fiberactive Germination, where we're germinating, we're watering the seeds more or less to allow for this field to now start to have a voice and to be seen and to be heard. And so this is very significant for me as a textiles and fiber artist, whereas I have struggled over the years and I've made it my mission to make a mark on the art scene, and I think I have done that at this point, and I'm now attempting to share that, but also to allow the other artists to see the possibilities that are there, but also to let them know you have to show your work, because that's one of the things here in the Jamaican art scene, whereas it doesn't come to you. You have to really go out and get it, and you really have to set the pace and make the opportunities for yourself as well as for others. So that's kind of what Fiberactive Germination kind of came about from, that need that I saw myself and Winston Campbell, who we co-curate and work with Blaqmango Consultants, putting on exhibitions. We do training for younger artists coming up, but also mentorship for them. So this is also part of that. So there's a large mixture of artists here, from artists who just recently graduated this year or the year before from Danaree College. We have a couple of really older artists that I shouldn't even say older in such a sense, but artists who have been around, who are my mentors and who I've followed and adored their work, and now they're here, I'm presenting with them. There are some of us who have been consistently practicing, so there's a really nice mix and a nice blend of work of artists who are presenting, and there's a lot. It's very diverse, as you would see in the exhibition. It's very diverse in terms of the different approaches, but it's also, I think, a field that allows you to explore almost anything, because you can paint with textiles and fabric, you can sculpt with it. There's absolutely no limitation with the medium, and that's pretty much what this show is meant to do, to really show the strength of this practice here in Kingston, Jamaica.
I'm Danaree Greaves. I give myself permission to be free. So this piece stems from me feeling a bit confused actually about the different expectations and the realities of growing up. In one end you have your parents thinking you should be this or what you should be. You have society thinking that you should go one direction. You have the church thinking you should go one direction. So it's all of that different advice can sometimes be bad. So it causes confusion in the minds of not only women, but because this is mostly highlighting women and I am a female, I chose to speak about my personal. This is how I feel on the inside. This is basically my brain on fabric. So, but in all the midst of that confusion, I choose me. So I choose to embrace myself and to try to focus on the positivity and who I am, my individual interests, despite my mother, my father, somebody not agreeing with it. It is still what I'm passionate about and how I feel like. So I give myself permission to be free from all the stereotypes of society.
Okay, so the work here, Life Source, is to look at my pregnancy journey. So in 2020, during the COVID pandemic, I found myself pregnant and I was in final year at the Edinburgh College. I was doing my final year works and so I actually did my final year show when I was 3 months pregnant. So yeah, it was a lot. So going home and even at school, there's a lot of times I'd feel drained, I'd feel tired. It's like somebody was just pulling all of me, just taking all of me. I got really skinny. Could see my spine and all of that. So the work was to encapsulate how I felt at the time. I was giving this person that I don't know all of my energy and my blood mostly, because I tried to use the reds and the blue to represent the arteries and veins. I was trying to get it a bit accurate in that regard, and the veins, I tried to capture the aesthetics per se of veins, and that was mainly what the work was about. And being a textile, mostly fiber art student, where I mostly do weaving to express these things, I definitely wanted to do a piece that was woven and just try to capture all of that feeling. And yes, like I'm this person's life source. I don't know you, but you're taking all this from me. And yes, so that was what the work was mainly about.
Hello, I'm Ammoy and I'm exhibiting at the Fiberactive Germination. So I'm a textile and fiber artist, so the whole exhibition is focused on reinforcing the textile industry, the textile artists making a way in Jamaica. The exhibition is a very detailed one. You get different perspectives, different textile techniques, and different spins on different topics. I think the collection overall is a very good one. It's very mind-opening. It causes you to actually think about stuff, because sometimes you see things and then, okay, it's a different feeling. The pieces bring out different stuff to you. I think this is a great move, because normally you hear of painting exhibitions or mixed media exhibitions, but you don't normally hear of textile exhibitions. So I think this is a really good eye-opener, and especially since textile has always been around, but it's always been in the back burner for some strange reason. But textile is something that we utilize every day. We utilize it in our clothes, in our attire, in how we decorate our places. Even the mask has to do with textiles. So my practice in particular speaks to nature. So I've always been fascinated by nature from a child growing up. I'm into sustainable development, and there's this whole vision 2030, the whole natural sustainability, and where are we going to be a few years time. So my work basically looks at like the preservation techniques that we can use to slow down the whole climate change issue. It highlights other stuff such as deforestation, pollution, you name it. But for my pieces that are showcased in this, I actually looked at the whole preservation in its entirety for this exhibition. So my pieces mostly comprise of browns, creams, yellows, natural hues for this exhibition. So
textile and fiber is an important part of Jamaica's academic framework. It's something that can be studied formally as a subject at the high school level, and you can get CSEC certification for having done textile and fiber art. You can do textile as well as part of your visual arts. There's CAPE, and of course, at the tertiary level, there are persons at UTech, for example, who study fashion, who engage in fabric manipulation and some fiber work. At the Edna College of the Visual and Performing Arts, there is an entire degree program that focuses on fiber, as well as there's an entire degree program on fashion. And there are other institutions. The MICO, for example, with their art education program, also sees students using fiber as a part of the creative expression or the suite of creative expressions that they explore. And we, as Blaqmango Consultants, we have done workshops in other environments, other institutions, and I've noticed that fiber work is also a part of the curriculum in some of these spaces. So we know that persons are exposed to fiber. What we are not necessarily seeing is enough activation for the seed that has been planted to be thoroughly hydrated so that it can germinate and become more. Artists are not only the creators of objects and items that are to be placed on a wall and to beautify a space or an environment. Artists also function in many instances as the conscience of the society, and if not the entire society, certainly aspects or segments of the society. So the point being that it's often said that a work of art or an image is worth 1,000 words. What that really means is that sometimes the artist is processing on behalf of the community and putting it together in a way that you don't need a long engagement to feel and understand and appreciate the things that are being placed in the artwork. So I've said all of that to say that this exhibition maintains that tradition of the artist, and particularly the textile and fiber artist, speaking to issues, reminding the community of important communal concepts, but also reminding the community of important social and sometimes gender-based ideas that we ought to not necessarily talk about all the time, but that we should remind ourselves of to maintain a high level of balance as we strive to make the society a better place for all members. So the exhibition has, yes, visually pleasing aspects and artworks that are nice to look at and are enjoyable as visual objects, but the exhibition also consists of pieces that reflect philosophical engagements, that reflects questions, that reflects ideas that are worthy of future engagement. And it's best to think of this exhibition then as the start of a process, the rebirth, but as well as a continuation of creative people engaging their communities that has long been a part of just human civilization.